Hello and welcome everyone. Thank you very much for tuning in. This is a screencast-o-matic presentation and recording for the part of the warm-ups that coincide with our current warm-up packet template. Please remember that your task here is to copy down the question and the answer that coincides with each day's lesson. Remember that when you're finished, you are to, of course, format your answer content in a different colored font and then submit when it's accordingly. Let's go ahead and get started with the first question. What is ancient Rome like? What key contributions has the civilization made to world cultures and world history? We'll give you a few seconds to finish copying down that question, and then we'll move on to the answer of the question of the day. In terms of origins, Rome essentially came from a small village on the Tiber River in Italy, and stretches from North Atlantic to the Persian Gulf. The Roman Empire specifically is known to be one of the largest empires in world history, and most students every year know the most about the Roman Empire more than others. From a government standpoint, the Roman Republic and Roman Empire had different forms of government, from a monarchical government with kings or emperors, and then the Republican government ruled by representatives by the people, and then of course ruled by an imperial government with notorious emperors and notorious leaders, for both better and for worse. From a military standpoint, Rome conquered and annexed neighboring peoples and dominated entire areas. Around the Mediterranean too, many historians note that they took over the Greeks, the Egyptians, and other people too, like the Carthaginians. From an infrastructure standpoint, the Romans built such iconic buildings and structures that have changed world history forever, from aqueducts to bathhouses to an advanced road system to, of course, many great architectural feats. In terms of ideas, the Romans had an inclusion sense of culture from peoples that they conquered. They developed an advanced form of language with Latin, an advanced social structure hierarchy, and of course advanced recreation entertainment ideals. From a cultural standpoint too, we can't overlook the fact that the Romans adopted and adapted to Greek and Roman gods together, almost as a fusion. And additionally, they would later adopt Christianity in full, and they would encourage the religion to spread too, despite some inner turmoil and conflict and strife, which we'll get into later. We are going to move on to the next question of the day. From Thursday and Friday, what key things led to the weakening and eventual fall of the mighty Roman Empire? So let's go ahead and do this section right now. Basically, the size, and simply put, the empire was just too large to manage from an administrative standpoint. Additionally, one of the biggest problems that they had in managing the empire specifically was that the people that were being part of it were way too diverse for them to rule over effectively. A series of bad leaders came to rise too. Many leaders were very driven to be dictators and nothing but, and they exercised their own power in rather non-productive ways. Additionally, government corruption ran rampant. Bad practices of scandal, greed, overtaxation, assassinations, and more hurt the government's ability and legitimacy to rule. Additionally, invasions from barbaric tribes or groups that sought autonomy from the Roman rule or fought fiercely for separation or even takeover from the Romans would prove to be a viable force that led to the downfall of the security of the empire. Also, massive unemployment and inflation too. The economic hardships of the empire crippled its legitimacy to rule and keep the people happy. So therefore, people were often outraged and rioted frequently against their representatives. With the rise of Christianity too, different religions and controversies surrounding the faith as dominant religions replaced the harmonious essence of getting along that took place in the early Roman Republic years. Now, of course, people were questioning the legitimacy of Roman gods and goddesses. And additionally, with the rise of Christianity, this replaced the cult of emperor worship to their prospective emperors. So even people's perspective of their rulership began to change in that regard too. Thank you very much for tuning in, everyone, and good luck with completing the corresponding lessons that coincide with the warm-ups.